Happy Monday, everybody. Daily Distinction Time. So glad you are here. Thank you for taking time out of your day for an idea or two about distinction. So glad you were here. Hope everybody had a fantastic weekend, whether you're watching live or on replay. Real glad you're here, whether you're watching on Facebook, any of the three channels that run on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, on Twitch, and now live on LinkedIn as well. So really glad you're here. Thank you for being a part of this. Glad that you're here. And by the way, one of the things that if you follow me on Twitter, I think it's every 3 hours, it provides an update of what is on Distinction Radio. We have Distinction Radio. It's 24/7 with ideas for you about how to create the ultimate customer experience and how you can create distinction. And one of the things we've got now is the ability to add it as a thing on your Amazon Alexa. I spell it because if I say it, everybody watch it. If you're near it, yours is going to go off. Mine's going to go off over here. So Alexa, I'm going to put it in the chat. It is the link that you can add. Gosh, help me out. What's it called? There's something that it's called the instructions, so that if you say Alexa, play Distinction Radio, then all of a sudden that's going to be playing on your Amazon device. So that's a new cool thing that we got going on. So I just posted it. I see that it went out on Facebook and YouTube and Twitch. I don't see where it went out on LinkedIn. So I'll post it there a little bit later on LinkedIn so that you'll have that if you'd like to add that as one of your gosh, I can't. I'm absolutely drawing a blank on what the name of that is, instruction or whatever. So it just makes it easy to listen to Distinction Radio. Jason, great to see you. Matter of fact, we were talking about you. If your ears were tingling, Tammy is back in Indiana visiting family, but there is this online seminar coming up in a week about Panama, about what it's like to live there and all that kind of thing. And we were talking about how I don't know if we need that or not, because we could go straight to somebody that's there. So yeah, did it take you to playlist? That's it should have taken you to I'll double check that and repost that link. It should have taken you to the instructions on how to add that to your Alexa. So that the playlist is what we've created, so it continues to run and run. So hope everybody's doing great. I want to share with you the topic of today is, what are you portraying on social media and how people can perceive what you do. And I don't think anybody would argue that social media has become more, gosh, what do you want to say? More confrontational, more upsetting, more challenging than it's ever been. It almost, there was I don't find myself agreeing much with Bill Maher from a political standpoint. And we don't talk about politics here, but from a political standpoint, he's not somebody that I would typically associate, that I agree with his viewpoints. But he has, in the last few weeks, been making this incredibly important point, I think, about regardless of where you are on the spectrum of politics, the meanness and the aggressiveness it's just kind of gotten out of hand. And so sometimes I think we react without thinking. Now, I'm not going to call anybody out. I'm not going to post their name. I'm not going to do anything like that. But have you ever had one of those nights where you woke up and couldn't go back to sleep? That was me this morning. I woke up about 3:30 and I'm just thinking, and I've got a big week of travel planned. Matter of fact, some of the daily distinctions this week will be pre-recorded. If I don't respond to you when you post, we're going to have to pre-record them because of travel and stuff like that going on. But the important point is that I wake up 3:30, can't go back to sleep. So I get up and I start doing some things and getting ready for my trip, and get on Twitter. And on Twitter, it had just posted one of the things talking about part of what is playing at that moment on Distinction Radio, because every 3 or 4 hours, every 3 hours, it just sends out a tweet. It's automatic. It just sends out a tweet about what I'm talking about at that particular time. So people tune in. We have something like 300 people a week that tune into Distinction Radio and listen. So here's what I said. Your customers won't be loved. They don't know how to play your game. That's what's playing now on Distinction Radio. There you go. Now, here's what I meant by that. you know, I would think that's kind of obvious, isn't it? That customers aren't gonna know what to do if they don't know. I mean, how do, for example, well, we'll get into this, but I don't mean a game to be frivolous. I mean, if they don't know how to do business with you, if they don't know, how do you play basketball if you don't know that you can't travel? If they don't know the rules of the game? All right, so that goes out. It's automated, right? Boom. I get on Twitter and someone has posted, customer loyalty shouldn't be a game. Now, part of what I found challenging about this is simply, why didn't they say, hey, Scott, what do you mean by a game? That customer loyalty isn't frivolous. Or, hey, Scott, what do you mean by that? Instead, just very slamming it. So now remember, you've only got 180 characters, so I'm trying to explain it. And that is, the tweet doesn't say a game, it says your game. In other words, you won't have loyal customers if you aren't clear with them how to do business with you and how you'll take care of them. It's just another way of saying a confused customer is seldom loyal. Who would argue with that? If a customer is confused about how to do business with you, do you presume that they are going to become a loyal customer? I wouldn't, right? I mean, I can't imagine anybody saying, man, I have no idea how to buy anything from them, but I can't wait to go back. Right? I mean, it seems so obvious to me. So then this person who has written books about the customer experience, again, I'm not going to call them out. I'm not going to call names or anything. That's not my purpose here. But look at their response. Now, I was just trying to explain what I meant by that in the short confines of Twitter. Despite the inane semantics, you missed the point. How did I miss the point of my own tweet? Or I missed the point that him saying it shouldn't be a game? Anyone who treats loyalty as a game will lose business, period. There's somebody that doesn't want to be questioned or have a conversation or a dialogue, period. And then there's a period right after that, as you can see. Not because confused customers are seldom loyal. All customers are loyal. Really? I mean, maybe you could say that, but not all customers are loyal to you. If they don't know how to do business with you, if they don't know the rules of the game, if they don't know how it's played, then they're not coming back. But because treating customers as a thing, well, now isn't that interesting? So when I play cards with my wife, I'm treating her like a thing, I guess, or something. I don't know. Treating customers as a thing, won or lost, is transactional and not human. It's not human? And it's amazing to me because we make the analogy so many times of different sports playing a game that relates to what we do in business. For example, in the book Iconic, I talk about that so many organizations focus on defense that they don't play their own game and focus on offense, and how you have to be strategic about the way your offense plays the game, and also about the importance of teamwork and that everybody works together and everybody works there, just as the goal of a professional sports team is to win games, not just for the thrill of winning games, but to get fans, customers engaged and involved and buying more tickets and buying more merchandise. I wrote all business is show business, but it didn't mean that you had to do a comedy routine or song and dance when a customer comes in. It means you create an emotional connection with your audience. It's a metaphor. Those are inane semantics that I missed the point. So I just wrote back, I'm quite certain you're critiquing an episode that you haven't had listened to. And anybody familiar with my work knows that what I advocate is the antithesis of transactional. I mean, I talk all the time about the importance of transcending transaction. Thanks for your input. Thanks for your input, because there's nothing a boss can say that irritates me more than thanks for your input. We won't listen to it, but we will keep moving on. I notice I didn't post anybody's name. I didn't try to call anybody out. But what I am suggesting is, if this person is a customer experience expert, who wants you to hire them to teach about customer experience, does that kind of catty, I don't know what the right word is, the response, is that the response that you'd want your employees to model? Is that the way of having a conversation that you would want your team to go, oh, that's an example of what we want? I think we have to be really careful with what we're portraying on social media, because what we have to do is to ask ourselves, is what we're saying congruent with the message that we want customers, employees, and prospective customers and employees to understand? Look, one of the tightropes of social media, and I don't know that, I try to do it right. Nobody is perfect, at it. I'm still playing and experimenting with it. I love it. But, if you follow me on social media, you'll see that I'm a Colts fan. You'll see I'm a fan of the Indiana Pacers. You'll see pictures of my wife and my stepkids and my grandkids, and you'll see Tammy and me out to dinner, and you'll see I'm friends with musicians and me going to their shows and that. I mean, you'll see me smoking a cigar and having a bourbon with, Larry Winget and Mark Sanborn and Joe Calloway. I mean, it's what I want my customers and my clients and my prospective clients, and I want you to see it's not just a philosophy that I sit here and pontificate about. It's how I try to live my life, and it's because I want you to do that, and I want my clients to do that as well. Is that they show that they really care and they are real people. So if that's the case, then I can't be saying all the time, have a great customer experience and then put stuff online that is mean or that is confrontational, but at least to a point, right? So that's what I want to bring up. Kevin Mullet is Kevin went to high school with Tammy, by the way, when you see Kevin post here. And he is an expert on this as well. The inherent danger of any written statement or opinion these days is that someone is waiting with bated breath to attack it. Kevin, truer words were never posted. And how did we get to that point? And at the end of the day, I don't know that we can ever put the genie back in the bottle, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is that we don't have to be that way. I know you're not, and that's part of what this is. And Colin, the sad part is that's far more civil and logical than most. Yeah, you got that right, my friend. Yeah, it is. It was it. I don't even know who it was. I mean, I looked up his Twitter profile, but you're exactly right. I mean, Kevin and Colin, both exactly right. I mean, it's like people are sitting by their keyboard waiting to jump on anything that anybody says, and that's why we have to be very careful with what we are putting out there. Look, I can't take responsibility for the way social media is. I can't take responsibility for what anybody posts but me. Have I made mistakes? Yes. Are there tweets that I made and I hit send a little too quick and I went and took them down? Yeah, there's been a couple of those over the years. But I think we have to consider in what we do online, is it congruent with what we want our customers and our prospects to see, and are we modeling the behavior that we want from them? It's interesting, we're seeing so much about, for example, angry passengers on airplanes, and that's wrong. It shouldn't be that way. I'm first in line to tell you that you got no business being that way on a plane. Simultaneously, I will also tell you that I have had more friends talk about rudeness from airline employees recently than ever. I understand. I mean, man, if I had their job right now, I mean, it's a federal regulation that you got to keep your mask on, so they kind of got to be the mask police. They got to be, but you don't have to approach it like a mall cop, right? I mean, delivering the ultimate customer experience and modeling the behavior that you want from your passengers is the first step. Does that work every time? Absolutely not. because the passengers bring baggage in. I don't mean like luggage. I mean emotional baggage in. You don't know maybe they're going to a funeral and they're upset. Maybe they're, there's a myriad of things. But I know that you're not going to get kindness from passengers until you show extraordinary kindness from the team. And I don't mean just airlines. That's true in any business. This is an emotionally charged time right now. And we have to be models of the distinction. And one of those distinctions I'm going to suggest to you is kindness and empathy, right? And even if we disagree, and if the person that posted this is never going to come to me and ask for a suggestion, right? But may I suggest, if you're just getting here, rather than saying customer loyalty shouldn't be a game, what if it would have been, Scott, I have a different opinion, but maybe I don't understand what you're saying. Could you help me know why you said this? Now, if they disagree, man, that's where a good conversation starts. My pal Sage Steele from ESPN and I, as maybe you've heard me say before, are going to start speaking at conventions together and talking about the importance of having difficult conversations. And it's based on some of the conversations that we've had around diversity and equity and inclusion and race and all of these things that we have had conversations about. And kind of the idea behind it is, if we can sit on stage and have that conversation in front of people, then part of what we're hoping is that then that models that people can go back to their cubicles and back to their conference rooms and have those kind of conversations in their offices where it can really make a difference. And part of it, there was a guy I was having, like I said, Tammy's back in Indiana. I was having dinner by myself last night at local restaurant. So I'm by myself. So I sat at the bar, struck up a conversation with a gentleman there at the bar. Really interesting guy. And part of what he was saying is, he said, as a black guy having conversations about race, one of the things he said is, you can have that conversation as long as I know you're sincere. You can make a mistake. He said, I think people are so afraid of making mistakes in difficult conversations. And by the way, I'm not just talking about race or equity or diversity. I'm talking about how we do customer service or how we're online on Twitter or LinkedIn, all of those kinds of things we're talking about. He said, as long as I know you're sincere and we're having a conversation, I'm not going to get offended. But if you're insincere or if you're telling me how things should be, now we probably have a problem, even if you don't say something offensive, And Kevin, you've used the best term. It's a good idea to extend grace. I love that. That's a great way of saying it. Extend grace to others in expectation of one day needing it. Yeah, how you respond matters. And Kevin, that leads to the last point I was going to make. Just like when it comes to the customer experience, everything matters. Everything matters. And so it's not only how we greet the customer and how we serve the customer, it's the expectations we're creating for the customer by what they see from us on social media, through our advertising, through how we carry ourselves. Everything matters. And that's what we need to understand and know about the ultimate customer experience. It's how we create distinction. Hey, one last reminder before we go, and that is check out iconicinnercircle.com. Iconic Inner Circle is where you can dig deeper into the things that we've been talking about today. First month is on me. It's absolutely free, and you can quit at any time. So there's no risk. You can check it out, sample it, see if you like it. I'd love for you to join. I think it's going to answer some of the challenging questions and drill deeper into that than what we have a chance to do here. Hey, I'm gonna pre-record for tomorrow. I'll be here tomorrow, but it'll be pre-recorded. So I'll tell you why I'm not responding to your comments, but I'll be on a plane. But I want to make sure we get it in. And hey, my pal Jerry has a great one. Respect others as you want to be respected. My buddy Tony Alessandra changed the terminology a little bit. He calls it the platinum rule, right? Golden rule, great rule, but basically what the golden rule says is do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. In other words, treat other people the way you want to be treated. I'm going to treat you the way that I'd like to be treated. And Don't have to be in business very long before you learn not everybody wants to be treated the way you want to be treated. So Tony captures the spirit of the golden rule, what he called the platinum rule. And the platinum rule is do unto others the way they want to be done unto. In other words, I'm not going to treat you the way I want to be treated. I'm going to treat you the way you want to be treated. And that, Jerry, you bring up an important point. That's part of the question that maybe we need to ask on social media before we post. You know, if somebody said this to me, how would I take it? If I sit this out there, am I treating them the way they want to be treated? Now, hey, look, if they're a bully, there is a point that you come back on that, right? Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that we always, give into the other side. I didn't do that today. But I think we do need to make certain that we are taking responsibility for what we tweet, that it's congruent, not just tweeting, anything on social media, any of the conversations we have with customers, that we're treating them the way that they'd like to be treated. That's how we create distinction. And that's all for today. Thanks for watching. I really appreciate you being here. Would you please share this as we close today so that folks will know to watch it on the replay? That would mean the world to me. Just take a moment, just hit share, and I will see you tomorrow on the next edition of Daily Distinction. See you then.